What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and way too close. Way too close. So overall, I mean, obviously the result is very pleasing. The outcome of it was all really pleasing, but some of the individual performances were honestly not that good today. And from some surprising individuals as well. So let's just get into it. First of all, just gonna get the referees out of the way. Ultimately, they started making better calls later on in the game, but come on, the penalty touch falls over. And the thing is, if you want to call it for the nudge, fine. If you want to call it that strict, fine. Go ahead and do that, but give Costa the 4 or 5 times he fell over like that. You know, because they were not calling it for Costa at all. He wasn't going over none. He wasn't going over under no contact. It wasn't like he was like, oh, I'm just gonna fall over now. No, they were touching him and he was going over too easy. Okay, you're not gonna call it. That's fine. But whenever Stoke does it in the penalty box, you can't call that. You can't not make all those calls and then make that one. It's dumb. It's inconsistent, and it makes me question just what are the referees doing? What are the referees seeing? If they're not calling all that stuff, if they're correctly not calling any of the non-fouls on Costa, then how do you call that one? It's the same exact thing. How do you anyway? Aside from that, they kept it fairly tight. Hang on, need to look at the scores. Okay, but they kept it fairly tight later on. It got better as it went along, but just that one really pissed me off because I would like a clean sheet. We haven't really kept one in a while. I would like to keep a clean sheet. And so to give them a goal, just gift it to them, is really upsetting, especially when it's from the referees. Aside from that, onto our individual performances. Courtois in goal didn't have a shot on him today. The PK was the only shot that they had. So he guessed right. It was just well placed. Nothing he could do for that. So once again, didn't really have much to do. But it wasn't for the want of trying from the defense, because my God, it felt like at one point in the game it felt like they didn't know what they were doing anymore. It felt like they completely lost their job of what they're supposed to do. They're flying all over the place. Cahill got the goal, great, but he's got to pick it up. Overall, I mean, he's all over the place. He's getting pulled and tracked out of position. He's not tracking the man that he's supposed to be tracking. And there's too many times where the switch comes and it's dangerous. Whether it's he's letting the cross go to the far side and that cross is dangerous, or the cross is coming to the far side and he's got pulled out of position to where now the guy on the backside's open and Alonso hasn't checked back to help out. So he's got to pick up his game. As the captain of the team, you should not be one of the dangerous players for us out there. You shouldn't be one of those players that every time the ball goes to your side, I'm freaking out because I'm like, holy crap, what's Cahill going to do? Is he going to clear it well? Is he going to try to dribble out of pressure? What's he going to do? I'm always concerned whenever it goes to Cahill's side because I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's going to happen. And that shouldn't be how it is. From our captain, who should be the leader in the defense, that should not happen. So really just he's got to pick it up. Overall, he has a very average game almost every single game. He does some things well, a lot of mistakes though. You can't have that from who's supposed to be your leading defender. Terry wouldn't have a game like that. That's what I'm trying to say. David Luiz, a lot more mistakes today. Just very, very sporadic as far as his challenges. Sometimes he's flying out, sometimes he's not putting any pressure on at all. For the most part, though, he makes up with it. He makes up for that with some really good clearances and some really good interceptions. Comes out and heads it away. So he also kind of has an average game, but I expect that from David Luiz. I expect him to kind of be that erratic defender, and that's why Cahill and Azpilicueta kind of step in behind whenever he goes flying out. So from him, I don't really. It's kind of what I expect out of his game. Azpilicueta definitely got beat a few more times than he should today. Just from what I've come to expect out of his performances, I expect solid defending. I expect nobody to get past him. Today it happened quite a bit. There are too many times where he's either getting pulled out or the guy's running at him, and instead of stepping in and winning it, the guy pokes it past him. It's like he's unsure of whether to step in or not, and all of a sudden now he's behind the guy trying to track back. That's not what I've come to expect out of him. So all in all, our three defenders, they had a very average game, but that's not. It's what I expect out of Cahill, but it's not what should happen. It's what I expect out of David Luiz, but it's not at all what I expect out of Azpilicueta. So they all three had very similar performances today, and because of that, I would say Azpilicueta, in my opinion, really underperformed. So onto the wingbacks, Alonso still having problems with him. He's not fast enough. He doesn't track back well enough. Like I said, there are many times where the ball gets crossed to their side, and Cahill stepped in. He's not tracking back, so it's like both of them working together on that side is leading to the other team's most dangerous chances. So I don't know why they can't seem to sort that out. I don't know why that continues to be an issue, but it's it's got to fix itself. Because at some point somebody's got to look at that and say, okay, that's where we're giving up most of our chances, or that's where they're looking the most dangerous whenever they're attacking us. So let's fix that. It still hasn't been fixed. Moses, I know he was dealing with a bit of a knock today, so I'm gonna excuse some of that because honestly, he did not do a great job of getting back today. Going forward, he did okay, not really as effective, but it was just getting back today that was really, really shocking. Most of the time I'm expecting to see him up and down, up and down, up and down. Today, I didn't see that out of him. Several times where Spilicueta was left stranded. So, very strange there. Into the middle, Matic and Conte. Conte obviously still Conte, still doing what he's supposed to do. But Matic just not involved. It's very strange because I know why he's in there. He's in there because he's defensive and he wins balls in the air. He's very big, he's very tall. That's what he's in there for. Okay, that's fine. But Conte's in there to win the ball. So what's Matic in there for then? Oh, well, to be a big body. Well, okay, he's not winning them in the air. Joe Allen beat him out on one. So how are you in there to be that big body that's going to win the ball, and then you're going to let little Joe Allen beat you to it? He's not Conte by any means. So I'm really confused as to why Matic is continuing to sort of get that start, even though he's really not doing much to deserve it. He's really not doing much to earn it. So I don't know. I expect more out of him. I truly do. So hopefully he can step it up. Hopefully Conte looks at it and says, okay, well, Fabregas, you were doing better there, so you'll be back in next game. But I really, really want to see more out of Matic. I think Fabregas deserves more. If he's going to be benched to have this guy step in to that place, he should look out there and be like, okay, so that's why he's out there. But honestly, I don't see it. I don't see him doing enough to earn that place. Up into the front three, Willian and Pedro both pretty ineffective today. Pedro still the same. He does something good, he'll do something bad. There's one perfect exemplifying of his game. He's challenging for it. They clear. I think it was Shawcross cleared it into Bardsley and it bounced off of him. So Pedro's in behind. That hard work. He wins the ball. Great. He's got Costa running. He's got Willian running. He's got Moses far post. What does he do? Cuts right into the defender. Perfect example of what Pedro is. That's who he is. That's what he does. He's very much just a mistake-ridden player that does some good things every now and then. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect today. I was expecting him to get a goal because most of the time it's like whenever I'm criticizing him, whenever I'm just like, why is Pedro out there? Normally he'll pop up and get a goal, but even today he didn't do that. So really disappointed. Just as far as you want those two attacking mids to be your most creative players, and honestly he's not doing enough. Willian, same thing. Too many mistakes in his game. Too many times where he should be beating this guy. He should be poking a pass, going with speed. He should be making a good pass. Too many mistakes. Too many times where he's giving up the ball. And from your two creative attacking midfielders, that can't happen. How many times does Hazard give up the ball? Maybe twice per game. Pedro and Willian, it feels like 10 to 15 times per game. They're giving away the ball. Bad passes. They get beaten off of it because they're not strong enough. Try to dribble past them and then dribble out of bounds. Too many times where they're just giving it away. That's not good enough. They need to pick up their game because at some point you got to look at it and say, well, we have to have better options. Whether it's on the youth team, whether it's putting Mitchie in, somebody's got to be able to step in and do better than these two are doing right now because they're not solid enough for me. And then Costa, same as Monday. Just the same old, back to same old Costa. Back to I'm gonna fight everybody. I don't care. I don't care about scoring a goal. I don't care about staying on my feet, trying to beat them with strength and speed. No, I'm gonna pick fights. I'm gonna try to get them sent off. I'm gonna try to get them yellow cards. I'm gonna argue with them. I'm gonna yell at the referee and get myself a yellow. He's ineffective whenever he does that. He is so ineffective. His best chances in the game were late on when he stopped talking. When we were finally ahead and he wasn't aggressive anymore, when he wasn't arguing anymore. Those were his best moments in the game. So why? Why is he still continuing to fight? Why is he still continuing to, oh, I'm going to argue, I'm going to get this guy sent off, and I'm going to... It's embarrassing. And whenever you're not producing the goals to justify that behavior, I'd rather have Mitchie in, to be honest. From the 5th minute, it was one of the first challenges he went into. You could tell he was in that mood today. He flopped over so easily. You could tell he was in that mood today. And I'm just like, get Mitchie on now. And get him on now because Costa's not going to do anything today. Sure enough, he gets himself a yellow. Most of the game, he's walking that tightrope. Every single challenge that comes in, he's falling over looking at the referee like, hey. It's just, it's not what you want out of your main striker. You don't see Harry Kane, you don't see Lukaku, you don't see Sergio. Well, Aguero did get himself a red card earlier this season, but you don't see them doing stuff like this. Like even in the games where they're not scoring goals, it's not like they're doing something stupid that's gonna make people frustrated. No, they're just not involved. Costa, if he's not scoring goals, you don't really want him on your team because he's such a negative player. He's such a disruption to the game. You're playing well, and then all of a sudden he gets the ball, and instead of doing a nice little layoff, instead of keeping the possession, he's like, all right, come on, come kick me, come on, come kick me. I want to get you sent off, and then they poke the ball away, and then it's gone, and the attack is done. So just really disappointing overall, pretty much from everybody except for Conte and Courtois, just because he didn't really have much to do. So I don't know what happened today, but a lot of these players just not good enough. I've seen so much better out of them, and even though it's still a win, even though going to Stoke is very difficult, and honestly, even coming away with a tie would be not a terrible result, it's still like, why are we not performing well? Why do we have these moments of idiocy where it's just like, oh yeah, let's just stop playing well, let's just stop working hard, let's just stop doing whatever we have to do. It comes out of nowhere. And in some of these games, the game against Tottenham where we lost, the game against Liverpool where they brought it back and tied it up. Today, the game against Burnley. Some of these games should be easy games for us, or at least we should be putting the game away, or we should be in control of the game. But there's too many moments where it looks like we're not in control because we're stupid on the ball. We're in Stoke. It's going to be windy. Guess what? Let's play all these long, over-the-top, in the air balls. And guess what? The wind's going to mess it up. How many times did Azpilicueta have to deal with this lofted ball that all of a sudden the wind blows it and now he's struggling to get possession of it because we're stupid? We don't see that, okay, let's not play it in the air. Let's keep it on the ground. Let's keep it on the ground. No, let's just kick it in the air. It's going to go in the air. That's all it's going to be. Come on, let's figure it out. You're smart. You're playing at the top team in England right now. You should be able to figure that out. And they didn't today, and it nearly cost them 2 points. So, on to the subs that came on, because honestly, Fabregas came on. Probably he helped keep our possession a little bit more, but on top of that, when he came on for Moses, so it actually switched to kind of a 4-3-2-1 type thing, or more like a 4-3-3. And at that point, it was like our defense was already kind of struggling because, all over the place and 6s and 7s and all that. And then all of a sudden, like, we go to back 4 and it just started nearly fall apart. As soon as Loftus-Cheek came on, I thought, oh, great, here we go, we're about to lose. But he honestly came on, did pretty well. He definitely added a little bit more attacking flair going forward. He's got a lot of energy, which is actually great to see from him, because one of my biggest complaints is I normally see like a lack of desire to go win it, and that's why I think it's taken so long for him to see any time for Conte, because Conte wants his players to go and win the ball. And honestly, he did today. He won. That's what he did for the corner. He lost it, instantly turned it back on, went to go win it, won the corner, which ended up getting to the goal. And even on the ball, he did pretty well today. So I like seeing that from him because that's the one side of his game that I think he needed to improve the most. Because he's quick, he's got a good touch, he's tall, and he's strong. So all of that was fine. It was just his lack of effort off the ball at times was just, it wasn't enough. You know, especially from a young player who you want to see all over the field, it wasn't enough from him. So I'm glad to see him working hard today. I'm glad to see that he did work on that side of his game, and it helped us get us the goal. So at that point, Zuma comes on for Willian, and back to a back three with the Spilicueta on the right. But all in all, I mean, it's still kind of a disappointing performance. I mean, like I said, I know it's hard to get a result at Stoke. To get a win at Stoke is actually really, really good. But the performance that went along with the result wasn't good enough, in my opinion. And that's where, going forward, looking at these performances, you know, we can't go to the Etihad and perform like this. We can't go to Old Trafford and perform like this in April. You know, we have to play both Manchester clubs at their place. We can't play like, well, no, wait. No, Man City's at our place. Never mind. I was just kidding. But, you know, going to Old Trafford at Stamford Bridge on Monday night, it was difficult. They made it difficult for us. If we go to Old Trafford and play like we did tonight, we're going to struggle. You know, because they're gonna be able to get a lot more chances than Stoke did on us, and they're going to convert at least a couple of those most likely. So something's got to change with the work ethic. Something's got to change with some of these players making mistakes. You know, I don't know if you bench them. I don't know if you tell them to work on these mistakes, work on getting them out of their game. But, I mean, as far as Cahill and Alonso are concerned, they are replaceable. We have players to replace them. Pedro and Willian, I kind of understand. We don't really have the necessary personnel to get out there in their place. So I kind of understand that. But for Cahill and Alonso, I mean, you got Zuma, you got Ake, you got Terry. Any of them can go in those spaces. So let's work on getting something else, because right now that's not good enough, and what we're seeing is just not good enough. So anyway, I know this has been kind of a downer review considering we won, but I am concerned going forward because we can't let this slip away from us. You know, we can't let these nearly results start getting the better of us. So hopefully they can step it up. I don't know what the next game is, but I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to change. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Who's your man of the match? Who's your worst man of the match? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you at the next game. Peace out.